I got this Sony TC-FX1010 that a customer dropped off, and he had been doing some research with the company on making a new faceplate for these decks. And we've been working with some of the kinks and, perfecting a really good faceplate that's viable for these models because they deteriorate over time. You can see the old one right here. You can see how it gets pretty weathered and crusty. And this happens to pretty much all of them. So here is the new one. Now we can turn some of the lights off so you can see the functions of this. So switch off one here, another one right there. Let's go. Stop that for now. So I'll run through some of the functions of this deck with the new faceplate. We're working on the part where the indicators illuminate thoroughly. As you can see, it works pretty well. So there's a function on here where you can make it beep. It's pretty neat. And everything is pretty much on this deck. It's pretty much like heat sensitive touch, but with this one you have to press a little bit, but barely. It doesn't really require that much force. So you can see it actually looks pretty remarkable. We're just working through, like I said before, working through some of the kinks of this one. I'm trying to clear up the picture a bit. There you go. You can see we're getting there towards the end. But if you're just tuning in, the Sony TC-FX1010, let's see, turn that on. You can see that the old faceplate has been removed on there. And that thing is, it's pretty bad. It still works, all the functions remain on it, but visibly it's just not great. And you can see they put copper pads on the back of this, and they isolated all of the indicators. So you can see right here, this is the working progress one that we have. I was running it earlier, trying to make sure that the levels are correct on it. Let's see. Do a little rewind action. So, got the level on it, no problem. Azimuth is all good. Did some minor level adjustments on the playback, but out of the factory, these decks are actually set up quite nicely. There's a bit of your mechanism right there. And when I talk about azimuth, I'm talking about the head alignment on the deck. So you can kind of look at this a little bit in some detail. So let's see if I can get a clearer picture here. All right, so you got the erase head, you have the recording head, and then you have the playback head. And essentially, you just want to line it up so you have consistent azimuth. So let's see here. Yes, this is a closed loop dual capstan system, so here we go. If you guys can see that really well. There we go, that's a bit better. All right, so you can see you got the 3 heads set up right there. You got the erase head, recording head, playback head. And so essentially you want to adjust the azimuth, which is, adjusting this for the ideal alignment on the tape so you get the highest frequencies. And that's already been done. We run that through one of these tapes. It's a full track engineering cassette, and various other ones that we use. But it's important to make sure that the decks are aligned to a standard. Sometimes you can find tapes on eBay that are like a homebrew cassette, and sometimes those have a pretty good reputation. Maybe they're not 100% spot on to the azimuth of the original, which is the Conference of Nations, to figure out the ideal alignment on all tape decks, so that way you can play a tape on one machine or record a tape on another machine, and you can play it on different machines and it would relatively sound the same. And someone is asking about, what does the oscilloscope do? It just allows you to get really precise measurements on what you're adjusting. So there we go. So I'm just looking at the height of both of these to make sure that they're the same. And you can always lower them just to make sure that your level is spot on. And this accounts for the left and the right channel. See, they're in sync. Perfectly in sync. The end goal of this is to fix this tape deck and send it back. And it's almost there. And a lot of people online are probably wondering about these faceplates and if there is a replacement for them. Well, the good news that there is, and we're working on it to get a really good product for these decks. I'd say the most challenging part about restoring a cassette deck probably is when the belts have melted and you have to disassemble the whole mechanism and, pretty much have it down to the bare mechanism, kind of stuff like this. Full disassembly and everything has to be cleaned. You replaced the belts before? Oh, on one of your tape players? So anyway, here's a couple more that I'm working on. The JVC, there's a Pioneer. In the shop we have some big Venturi speakers right here, the Formula 6 ones, if I can get these things open. Of course, we're rocking the left and right channel. But yeah, a lot of people are interested in the format still, and they're getting these tape decks repaired. So, long live the format and the users that, still are involved in the hobby. Sure about what? Well, anyway, this is my first time going on YouTube Live. It's quite interesting. It's cool seeing people here participating in the chat, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get back to work, and I'll make a more in-depth video about this faceplate so you can see it a bit more. And once that's all done, we'll have a viable option where you guys can purchase this, and we can let you know who's selling them. And if you're getting into tape decks, you know, I work on them all the time. I restore them. I've been working with the audio format for about 16 years. And, you know, I got tools to get the job done and have a lot of spare parts. There's a warehouse that has a lot of decks in it with also parts and everything. So if there's a project that you need done, you know, particularly with the cassette format, I'm more than happy to get involved and help you out. But until next time, I'll see you guys, and thanks for tuning in.